You're in progress. All right. Welcome to the How I Met Your Mother Tip to Tip weekly watch along podcast. That is really a friggin' mouthful.
We got to find a way to shorten this title.
Yeah. We are on I'm here with Linda.
What up?
I'm Grant. We are here. Don't I'm working on my setup, so don't be looking at my fucking couch.
Just letting us into your personal life.
Yeah,
It's
just
fine.
don't be that's yeah, don't be looking at that. Um This week's episode is season 1, episode 8. 8, correct? The Duel.
8.
Of course, I put 7 on here, but I know it's 8. Whatever. Season 1, episode 8, The Duel. And since the Rotten Tomatoes has been I decided that I would put the premiere date on here. It premiered November 14th, 2005.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this is a long time ago. So as always, I'll do the recap. I think we start with the main full. Well, Robin's kind of in both stories a little bit, but we start with the main story, and then the second story is what we'll fall into. I'll read, and we can just go along as usual. I got some notes here. I'm sure you got some notes. I
I
didn't
do
like this
indeed.
episode. It made me feel all kinds of ways, and that was stupid.
I love this episode for so many
It was
reasons.
very good. I just didn't want to feel all the ways that made me feel.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Um. Okay. So.
That was beautiful.
Lily decides to take Robin over to her apartment, which is where we first find out. And I forgot how everybody in the episode, like the kids are shocked, everybody's shocked that Lily had, because I felt the same. I'm like, wait, doesn't she already live with Ted and Marshall?
Right.
So Lily decides to take, and she's just like so casually to Robin, like, hey, we just need to pop into my apartment. I was like, what the fuck?
She refers to her apartment as Fat Pants.
Yes,
You don't want to ever have to use them, but you like that they're there. And I just think that's gorgeous.
and
I
it's
love
true
that.
though. I mean, like she's
It is
always
true.
with Ted and Marshall, but like if she needs to get away, she's got a safe zone.
Exactly. Exactly.
So Lily decides to take Robin over to her apartment, which she herself has not been to in 3 months, which is a wild time to be away from home.
Yeah.
Um, we also know two people like this. Um, Eric and Debbie. Debbie has a whole different condo than Eric's
Wait,
house.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously?
yeah, because she had it before they met and stuff.
And sh
So,
and she just still has it?
well, yeah, I think it's cheaper to keep it than to get rid of it right now. Essentially,
I had no idea.
I also, yeah, I don't really know the whole story. There's a reason. I know there's a reason that she still has it. But in the beginning of their
Interesting.
relationship, we didn't know. So it was like, whoa, you got a condo? But
Like
now I think
we
there's,
should switch it up a little bit. Go party over there.
yeah, now logistic. Maybe that's why she never told us.
Maybe, yeah.
But now I think there's logistic reasons that she's keeping it. Um,
Intrigue.
so shout out. I don't know if I should have said that. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Um, while they're out, but when they get to Lily's apartment, they find out that the landlady has passed away. She was 90, and Lily's apartment is now a Chinese restaurant called Madame Chu's House of Dumplings, which is a great name
Is
because
that even stated, Madam Chu's? I knew it was a house of dumplings, but where did that come
I
from?
don't know, but I think Madame Chu's is a great name
It
because you
is a
chew
great.
dumplings and you chew food. So I just think that's fantastic.
That's, yeah, not at all a nod to like a very stereotypical Chinese last name.
I mean, it's a little racist, but whatever. Sometimes you just back to though you make jokes like that back then.
Just slip it
I mean, it's better than the 47 gay jokes. So,
in. Yes, yes.
Lily even sees many of her personal belongings still there. So I like where she's like, oh, my dresser would used to be right. Oh my god, that is my dresser.
Yep. And the nail polish stain.
Yeah. So, Lily and Robin immediately head over to Ted and Marshall's apartment to explain the situation. Which I like this because Lily explains the situation. And then Marshall immediately goes one into lawyer mode
Mm-hmm.
and two into I gotta fix this mode.
Immediately.
And Lily's like, well, there's kind of just an agreement, between us, nothing really signed or dotted or, you know,
Which is so 2005 to like have an
right.
apartment but not have a written lease.
And so polar opposite of what Marshall would do.
Oh, most
There were certain
definitely.
things, and then I liked how Ted's like, well, why don't you move in here? It'll be no different.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Lily's like, you sure? Blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, let's do it. I'm not sure how they moved the stuff out of the Chinese place, but whatever. Um,
Well, the lady at the Chinese restaurant made a very bad Chinese food joke and goes, "Oh, your stuff's in the back. We'll wrap it up for you. You want it to go?"
oh, I thought they made her some food.
So I'm assuming that like
They just
there was some sort of back exit, like
they just a back alley like getaway.
yeah, you know how like food delivery trucks they pull up to like a back door?
Yeah,
They just pulled up a U-Haul and loaded all of Lily's stuff from the Chinese restaurant.
that's fantastic. Those Chineses are great. It'd be better if
Whoa.
they had Mexicans. So Mexicans seem like better movers, harder
I
work.
mean,
Definitely not Americans. That's
no,
for sure.
no.
I could tell those people how to do it though. Corporate America, God bless. So then Ted, Lily and Robin immediately head over to Ted. Blah 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 blah. Ted says, since you practically live here anyways, then they shoot to the bar, where Barney warns Ted, things will change when Lily moves into the apartment, and that eventually she and Marshall will force him out of the apartment. And Ted doesn't believe him. So, and then Robin asks Ted, well, have you and Marshall ever discussed who gets the apartment? And he's like, well, yeah, obviously. Like, we're not children. So it just flashbacks to them, which, mind you, this is a flashback in a flashback of a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just
The
playing
layers there are just
yeah, they're
fantastic.
just playing video games and they're trying to figure out who gets the apartment or whatever. And Ted's like, who this is a great decision for? And Marshall's like, who? And he's like, future Ted and Marshall. And I think that's the first time we hear of, and we will hear more of, future Ted and Marshall or
Yep.
future Barney or
Very frequently, it's future Barney's problem to
yes.
address.
And I also like how when they come back then from the flashback, Ted's like, damn it, past Ted. So then Ted, Barney gets in Ted's head like he always does, and then because Barney has a skewed vision on life, so Barney comes back. Ted goes back to the apartment. That's not gonna happen. We're best friends. Like this is, and then his beloved toaster or
Coffee
coffee
pot.
maker, Shocky, is gone.
It
And Shocky, every time you plugged it in while you're making coffee, gave you a little jolt.
physically gave you a jolt as well
Physically,
as a caffeinated
a
jolt.
caffeinated jolt. Um, so it was in the garbage placed there by Lily because Lily brought a new coffee pot that worked and was brand new and nice and did that cool thing where it didn't electrocute the shit out of you. So then the Barney voice starts getting louder for him. And he's like, oh, maybe she is trying to move me out. Starting with he acts like she just threw his bed on the curb.
Right. She threw out a rusty, like
Yeah,
50-plus-year-old coffee pot that physically injures you every time you
yes.
want coffee.
But in his head, that's enough for Barney's statement to start snowballing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so he feels even more threatened when Marshall tells him he wants to hang Lily's painting where their two swords were hung. So in the apartment, they have two swords above the piano, which
Yes.
I forgot they had a piano, I guess.
Oh, I didn't.
Also, in this episode, because now I will look every single episode, the couch is brown and red. So it's got like a red throw on it, but the sides are
Oh,
brown.
I
Just
didn't notice the red throw, but I did notice it's the same brown leather couch. So maybe they just haven't gotten the red couch yet. They're
yeah,
leaning into this whole red thing.
but yeah, we are, and I am all about this couch. I love couches. Don't get mine. Oh yeah. So um, Barney basically. So then they're at the bar talking again, and Robin's like, "Oh man, terrible of Lily to get you that really brand new nice coffee pot. She's a terrible person." And Ted's like, "Man, I don't really know what to do." And Barney's like, or what did he say? Ted said something, and Barney's like, "No, you got to go bigger."
Oh, yes. He said, I don't remember exactly what Ted said, but
Yeah, he
it
was
was
labeling his food though, because I remember that when we all lived together, I
mhm.
had to label my food,
Yep.
not because of you guys, but
And he had to do something very big and passive aggressive, which I think is absolutely hilarious considering this
out of
episode is
control.
all about like being afraid of change and
Yes,
not wanting things to change.
and
Ted is
communicating while things are changing.
mhm. Ted is so stuck in his uh need or desire rather really for things to not change, and then
Right.
he goes and buys something so extravagant that it changes the whole layout of the living room.
He literally buys a English phone booth as if it's an as if it's the end table I got right there.
Yep.
Don't look at it. Um, he literally, and then he's just like, so Lily warns Marshall this is coming, and this was very, very much reminding me of me and Tim, 100%. And you being, and you be like, Tim be like, oh, we'll figure it out. It'll eventually happen. And you being like, no, that's not how this works.
Not how
And then
any of this
then
works.
the big package shows up at the door, and
Yep.
Marshall's like, all right, you may be onto something.
Yep. And you two did a whole lot of like, oh, this is a future Grant and Tim
Yes.
problem.
Yes. Also, why did Marshall and Lily unbox the booth and set it up for the movers? I
I
mean,
get
somebody had to guide where this booth was going,
I
and
feel like they must have because Ted comes home and he goes, or Marshall goes, "Oh, your English phone booth arrived."
it's
Like,
just very nicely like set there.
for as angry as Marshall is about this extravagant home furniture piece, he still can't like deny his best bro
Right,
the satisfaction of getting it set up and out of the
right.
fucking crate for
And
him.
and I feel like part of Marshall's like, maybe he had a good reason. Like maybe he needed this phone booth. Like,
Or maybe
let's
it was
find
just
out.
maybe it was just out of sheer curiosity because the box only said fragile.
That is true.
So maybe they just wanted to know what was in the box, and at that point they got the crate open and it was too late, so they had to
Also,
take it out.
if Ted should have been mad about anything, it's them opening his mail. I mean, they
True.
opened his package.
So true.
So, Ted was also labeling his food, which I think if anybody has ever lived with anyone, you you know it comes down to when the food's getting labeled, there's some shit going down. Because
Man, I had to label some of my food when I lived with my husband.
right,
Like, yo,
when
don't eat this.
when we had lived together, we had a certain roommate who did not understand that what's ours is ours,
Hmm.
and we
And
would
like
have to label all our food.
we do separate grocery runs.
Yes, and like it was different if you wanted something or I wanted something because we had the courtesy to ask.
Yeah.
There was no asking. That's why there were these aggressive labels. Not that it stopped it, because it never stopped it.
No, it didn't.
It
No.
just made me more mad because like, but the name's there.
Right. It's right there.
Should have bought a phone booth. Fuck.
Well, now we know for next time. If we ever
There will
decide that
never be a next time. I will
at
find
31 and 34 we want roommates again.
my girlfriend, wife, future, whatever she is, will be living somewhere else. Clip that.
Clip that.
So he begins to argue with Marshall about who should get the apartment, which leads to a duel, a literal figurative, or not a figurative, a literal physical duel. With swords that hung on the wall. So they start dueling, which again, totally me and Tim. They start dueling, and like 3 or 4 swings in, they're like, this is freaking awesome. Like,
Right.
and they're still arguing and communicating, but they're arguing about the situation while dueling.
I like the irony of Ted being so mad at Marshall for wanting to take the swords down, and then he thanks Marshall for taking the swords down because they got this wicked sword fight out of him
Yes.
taking them
And
down.
they're arguing, they're pushing down on the swords. They're
Yeah.
like, he's
Yeah.
like, swipe my legs out from underneath me. So, both consider the duo awesome, even though they are fighting for the apartment and mad at each other. Events become more tragic when they first moved in, Marshall lost screws or something for the coffee table, and they flash back to it. And Ted's like, "Oh, use this wood glue or whatever." Marshall's like,
Which is
"Yeah, great
which is
idea."
so not something an architect would
Right.
recommend.
And yeah, but definitely some of the two guys that were just smoking sandwiches set up their apartment would
Facts.
do.
Facts.
So he's like, "Yeah, good idea." And then Marshall's on the table pushing downward onto Ted, and the weight collapses the table. He flies off and slices Lily as she walks through the door. Um, then we go to the hospital where Lily gets patched up, and Lily says, "I want to speak." What did she say? I want to speak to the two.
The Knights of the Poorly Constructed Round Table.
Yes, the Knights of the Poorly Constructed Round Table.
I have that one written down. I thought that was
So
great.
then she basically says, "I don't want to live in your apartment. It smells like boy." That's basically what I took from it. But I mean, she's right. Like, it's their apartment. Why would
Yeah.
Lily want to live forever in their apartment?
Exactly. It's very much bachelor pad. It's the place
Right.
that they got right out of college. Like that represents a certain chapter in Marshall and Ted's life. And
Agreed.
even though Lily was a huge part of that, Marshall and Lily are about to move on to this other like super significant chapter of marriage. Typically, when you're married, you don't have roommates
Correct.
and
And
like
she
you want to
doesn't.
start fresh somewhere.
Right. And she wants to start pick out their own end table, pick out their own English phone booth, pick out their own couch. She wants those things between them. Where everything in this apartment was like they found the swords at a fest. They found that, everything there was something Marshall and Ted had found together.
Right,
And a
exactly.
piece
And
of their history.
that's not to exclude Ted from the relationship because I think
No,
Lily does a great job of reminding Ted like just because we're getting married and we're gonna move out doesn't mean you're not gonna be Ted anymore.
agreed. And I do think, and I wrote down because this was important. I thought, hold on. Marshall, um, man, I don't know where I wrote it, but Marshall, when they're fighting, goes off on Ted and said Ted's mad that he basically says Ted's mad that he can't have everything Marshall has. And he could if
Yes.
he just pull his head out of his ass, basically.
Yep. He
And
says
this
that
is
if you
he
really wanted to be married by now, you could be,
yeah,
but I don't remember the exact word that he uses, but Ted questions it and he goes, "You don't know how to enjoy anything."
yes, Ted
And
is
that's something that's just
constantly
like
I
so
I just told a
insulting.
friend this. She was talking about if you know who you are, whatever. We're just out here.
Shots fired.
Um, she's talking about how she hates dating sites and she hates this small talk, blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, it's because you're constantly looking for the next thing. You can't see what's right in front of you.
Yeah,
She's like, well, I'm talking to this guy, but this guy it's not working out with. And I'm like, you're here, moving here.
right.
Like we do that as humans. I do it. I'm guilty of it. I live 10 steps ahead instead of where I'm at right now. And I spent a long time living life like that. But if we can't enjoy right now, how's it ever going to be a good memory 10 steps from now?
Exactly.
Right. But this is also the first time that Ted or Marshall really calls Ted out. Instead of just, it's Ted, that's Ted, it's a Tedism. He
Ted's
really lays down
Ted's
the
tedding
law.
out.
Yeah. He really lays down the law like, Ted, you're fucking ridiculous.
Hmm.
And I thought that was very, very cool because that is a transition through the show that happens.
Yes.
Marshall eventually gets so fed up of Ted being Ted, he has to put his foot down.
Yeah.
And
And vice versa. I mean, Ted
yes,
does that with Marshall a handful of times. I don't want to give
Barney does it a lot with them. Everybody actually would.
Barney does it with
Yes,
everybody.
and I think that's the most shocking because you don't expect Barney to give a shit.
Oh, right, exactly.
So on to Barney because this was great. He walks in the hospital because they got a phone call. Lily's in the hospital, and right away Barney does. He's like, "Is she okay?" Or Robin's like, "Is she okay?" They're like, "Yeah, she'll be fine." He's like, "Guys, you're never gonna guess what happened to me." Just no regard. They're like, dude, he's like, "She's not dead." Like,
You just said she was fine.
right. So on the other end of things, Barney has created a revolutionary idea in the dating world, the lemon law. Similar in
Revolutionary.
nature to lemon laws for used cars, Barney's new lemon law. So there's a lemon law when you buy a new car. I don't know if it's in every state, but you have a certain amount of time to where if the car it doesn't work or something's wrong with it, you get your money back. You can essentially return it like a bad lemon. Um,
Which I've never understood because who's like taking the time to go back to the grocery store and
yeah,
return bad produce? Like, I'm
turn
just cutting my losses and throwing it in the trash.
turn lemons into lemonade. Get a life.
Or that, yeah.
So Barney's new lemon law for dating gives a person 5 minutes to decide if there will be a second date or not. They can call the date off for any reason in the first 5 minutes, avoiding bad dates. Barney goes on to say that it will become, per usual, a thing, a lemon law. Two different women after lemon lawing two different women on dates. Robin argues that it takes longer for people to get to know each other. So she challenges Barney by taking. So basically, it becomes the first time we see Barney and Robin directly interact, other than the betting, but the group was still involved in that.
Yeah.
This is just them. And Barney is finding out quickly that Robin will try to prove him wrong by
hmm
going with his challenges.
She'll feed into the
Yeah,
bullshit.
and it gets Barney off doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So, shout out Kelly because Kelly loves to do that, and I am so Barney. Which reminds me, we need to get a Red Bull Friday because she said for $5 she'll shotgun a Red Bull. So
Whoa. I want to see that. I want to see how hyper somebody gets after shotgunning a Red
she
Bull.
also ate something really hot at dinner. I don't remember what it was, but we were at dinner and she's like, "How much to eat this?" And I was like, $5.
I love that.
So shout out Kelly. She that's not shot fire there. She'll appreciate that. um so basically Barney finds the nerdiest person at the bar and says, "Okay, lemon law that guy. Like you're gonna 5 minutes you'll know if
hmm
that here it says Star Trek nerd. Or actually a nerdy guy obsessed with Star Trek, same thing. On a date. So she goes to the date, they go to some
Like
weird
outer space themed.
real life How I Met Your Mother pizza planet. I don't know. It's like
I love that.
it's so Barney calls her a little before 5 minutes in, I'm assuming. And he tries to get her to use the lemon law, but she refuses. The guy asks if that was a fake call from the hospital because Barney used that earlier. And she tells him that she would never do that. Obviously, this has happened to this guy many times.
Right. He just automatically assumes that she's getting a
Yeah.
fake phone call.
So only a few minutes later, she gets the real phone call from, this says from the hospital, but I'm assuming it was probably from Marshall or Ted.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, unless Lily's emergency contacts Robin.
I mean, I couldn't blame her
It
though.
would be, I mean, we were talking about two guys that were fighting with swords over an
hmm
apartment. So she gets a call from the hospital telling Marshall that Marshall has accidentally stabbed Lily and leaves Kevin, believing that she is indeed using a fake excuse to get out of their date, and tells Robin that she has no honor in Klingon. Shout out Nicole. She has to be shouted out, so there you go. Klingon, that sounds like something nerdy you'd like, Nicole.
I don't even know what Klingon is. Is that
Klingon,
like a
I think it's Windex. You could Klingon. I don't.
is that like an alien language from like
Yeah.
Superman or something?
Star Trek, maybe?
Oh, maybe Star Trek. Yeah, that would make sense. It's not Star Wars because like.
May the five for I don't fucking know. Whatever the Bloods do.
What?
And then gang for life. Krypton,
The
Klingon.
Bloods are nerds?
I don't maybe. That's why they
We
make all
probably
those,
shouldn't.
maybe
We
that's why they
probably.
make all those signs.
We probably
That or
shouldn't talk about.
that or they're deaf. I don't know.
We probably shouldn't talk about the Bloods. We're gonna get hits out for us on
Talk about
from our How I Met Your Mother podcast.
the Crips and the Bloods. What up, thugs? Word life. Okay, anyways.
I can't.
So Kevin, at the hospital. Okay, so this is what I was talking about where Barney moves the story into himself. Barney at the hospital reveals that his lemon law is now a thing, as he had just been lemon lawed by a girl earlier that night. So Robin's like, so he says this, he's hyped, he's like, I got lemon lawed, and Robin's like, wait, and Ted and Marshall were like, no, just let him have it. Let him have it. He does this. This is like,
so, he's turning a loss into a win.
Yeah, so then he also regrets not calling it Barney's Law, so as to get some name recognition for fame. Once Lily's released from the hospital, they go eat at Madame Chow Wow Shanghai Dumpling.
They go eat at Lily's apartment.
Yeah, basically Lily's old apartment. And a song's playing, and they're like, we really like this song. And she's like, I think this is the mixtape you made me in 1998.
Hold on.
Valentine's Day.
Hold on. A song is playing?
Yeah, I don't remember what.
It's Chumbawamba, bro.
Oh, yeah,
Chumbawamba. I get knocked out.
That's right.
It was an anthem in the early 2000s.
That is true. Words. Klingon, Crips, deaf people, I don't know. Love is blind, I don't know. Love on the spectrum, whatever. So then Marshall's like, no, this can't be the mixtape I made you, or I couldn't tell if he was like being bashful, like I didn't do that, or like, but then after the song stops, he goes, hey, Lily Pad, or whatever he says.
He goes, happy Valentine's Day, Lily, 1998.
And he's shouting her out.
Yep. Which was also just such a 2005 thing to do to like inlay your voice on a mixtape.
And it took so much work.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy thing to do.
No, it's gonna take me less time to put this podcast up than it did to make a fucking mixtape.
I don't even know if I could. I don't even know if I could burn a CD anymore.
I don't even know how you would burn a CD anymore.
To be quite honest, I don't even think my laptop has a CD drive.
I don't think mine does either, actually.
Well, we're out on making mixtapes, I guess.
Damn! Shucks!
Son of a bitch.
Leon!
That was like my thing, though. Like,
I'm just doing it. Fuck
it. Are you having a psychotic break? It's fine.
This episode fucked me up.
Yeah, sure. Blame the episode.
So my big notes here. Are so Robin had a quote in this that I really, really liked. And it was explaining the lemon law to after Barney explained the lemon law to her. She said, if you give up on people so quickly, you could miss something great.
Yep.
And I thought that was phenomenal because in 5 minutes, you could probably tell whether you're going to be annoyed with somebody or not. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to get to know them and like them better. Hell,
we've proven that. I was annoyed with you in 45 seconds.
Well, I mean, that shit have piss poor taste, but that's, whatever. I'm not, who am I to judge? Klingon, whatever. Encyclopedia.
Is that going to be the name of the episode, Klingon?
Klingon. I don't. Nicole, write in, comment on this episode and tell us what Klingon is. She's going to be so mad because she asked why she doesn't ever get shout-outs.
Heads clinging on to the past. Oh.
You cling on to the comments, Nicole. Let us know what Klingon is. Thank you. Yeah, she's going to be so mad. Because she was like, I never get shout-outs, so now I just...
We love you, Nicole.
I think this was also a big... premiere of things like Shocky. We get that throughout the series. Names of inanimate objects that mean more to these people than should. and
Yes.
watching it, you're like, what idiots. But I resonated in every being in my body when I
Oh, I
seen
do that.
Shocky in the trash. I was furious.
Yeah,
And
dude.
I have been in relationships where they're like, you don't need this, or this is trash, or let's fix this. And I'm like, that's mine.
Don't fucking touch it.
Yeah, like,
Leave
Jesus.
it the way it is.
Just because it's broke for you doesn't mean it's broke for me.
Yes. Yes.
And then, yeah, the Robin and Barney thing's big because this is the first time one-on-one they really hang out. And what's funny is Robin's need to change Barney while she's changing so much from everybody else.
Right.
And then what Robin's story about and what that means. She probably had a story in here somewhere. Barney's lack of bro by extension. I thought was fabulous.
I love bro by
And
extension.
it is such a real thing.
I am bro by
Yeah,
extension.
you were a bro, and that was my exact thing.
And now I'm just the bro.
Yeah, now you're just bro. But it's always bro by extension or girl by. I don't want to say ho. That sounds inappropriate.
I'm cool with.
I don't know. Female by extension. I don't fucking know.
I'm cool with being bro by extension.
Yeah, bro by extension is unisex, interchangeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a bro.
Nuts and bolts,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that's a very real thing. Like, even with a friend, like, if I bring a friend to meet friends, again, like you just met a bunch of my friends, you're a bro by extension of them.
Yes.
And vice versa.
Exactly.
And then everybody bros out together. Shout out Nicole. Klingon! Maybe I'll just name the episode Shout Out Nicole. And the Lily lecturing Ted and Marshall was very Linda for me. Because I can remember talks where we'd sit there and you'd be like, you need to talk to Timmy. But first of all, he needs to talk to me. Knowing damn well you were just inside or wherever telling him, you need to go talk to Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it needed to happen.
And for as much as I could get through to Timmy on any given day, I knew that he was more stubborn than you were.
Yeah, that's true.
And you would crack and talk to him first.
Yeah, I think Tim had more of the ego. Like, I'm not going to be wrong. I'm not going to be wrong.
Correct.
I more or less had to be right in the moment, and then
I
could
think
see I was wrong.
I think Timmy, God rest his soul, also got off on not doing what I asked him to do.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
you think this is something? Okay, that's just a whole episode in itself. I mean, it wasn't just you though; it was anybody.
Yeah, he
didn't like to be told what to do.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't Tim telling Tim what to do, he's just like, I'll think about it.
Yeah. So my big takeaway from the episode was that things change, people change, but the important stuff always sticks around.
Yes, exactly. And also that like nobody likes change, and that while it's very scary, it's also super eye-opening. And if it's important enough to your life and your friends' lives, those things aren't going to go away.
Agreed. And that's what'll stick. And even if the atmosphere, area, whatever changes, coffee pot, the friends that drink the coffee will always be around.
Exactly. Speaking,
I give it 5 blue French horns.
I would also give this one a 5. Down to the Chumbawamba mixtape. Yes. I do have a note about the atmospheric change, which is something that I never noticed before today's rewatch, which I think is super cool. And they do also play into this later in the series, which I don't want to spoil, but I'll circle back to it like 5 seasons from now.
Spoilers.
The booth in McLaren's that they all sit around, like night after night, is red. Oh. The table that they're sitting around in the Chinese restaurant is red.
So it is a red theme.
And they're all sitting in the same way that they would sit at McLaren's.
That is true, and they talk about that in one of the podcasts. Craig Carter, one of them.
Craig
says that for some reason that shot got high ratings for whatever reason it was.
Because it was like that feel-good ending. They wanted to...
you felt like you were sitting with them to end
Yeah, to
episode.
end the night. They
Yeah.
wanted to see the five of them share something together in that
Yes.
shared space. But I loved the play on color with the red booth, the red table. Eventually down the line, we'll see another red booth, but it's not McLaren's. Um,
Yeah, I'm interested. They haven't said anything about the color schemes at all, but I feel like it's a big part of How I Met Your Mother.
Agreed.
And then as we go further in, maybe they initially didn't realize or know, but as we get further in, they even start to there's the blue French horn, there's the yellow umbrella, there's things that stick out due to their color.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's super important.
yeah, and I don't know if they knew that going in, but they definitely, um, it definitely becomes a thing for sure.
Another major red is the red cowboy boots.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yes. So
Um, yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it. It gave me all kinds of feels because I also don't like change. And as much as we talk throughout this podcast of changes in our lives, of where we were, most of the people we mention in this podcast, in a past tense, we don't talk to anymore.
yeah.
Like in our scoreboards and our, that was our McLaren, that we don't talk to those people anymore. And I don't essentially I don't think you're ever ready for that. I think we all know it's going to happen, but you're never really ready for when that last time we're all sitting under that gazebo is going to be.
Yep. And you don't ever know when you're doing it for the last time either.
Yep.
Like we all went to boards one night and sat
That
out
was
on
our
the
last night
patio
at boards.
and ordered our last
I
round
got
of
the
drinks.
goosebumps. Yeah, it was our last round of drinks. It was, and then everybody just went, except for us. And we'll be here next week.
Hell
Good
yeah, we will.
news.
And the week after
And
that.
the week after that, and for 9 more seasons.
This is gonna take forever. People are gonna get sick of
We're gonna
us.
have to start doing. We might have to start doing 2 episodes a week.
I mean, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But
I do know what's coming up next week. Oh wait,
tell us.
do you also know? Did we
I
prepare
don't,
for
because
this?
I didn't look it up.
Oh, I looked it up this time
I didn't
because
look
I
it
had
up.
a feeling.
Give it to us.
Um, this is one of my favorite How I Met Your Mother shticks, and it's the start of it. It is belly full of turkey. We get our first Thanksgiving episode. I don't remember if it's mentioned or if this is the start of
I think it's got to be the start.
I
I don't
think it
remember either though.
I think it's the start. Marshall and Lily are not in New York for this Thanksgiving, but
That's right. They're with Marshall's family, correct?
How I Met Your Mother does Thanksgiving episodes
Yes.
so fucking well. They do
Yes.
every holiday episode just flawlessly.
So what's really funny is I'm watching This Is Us,
Yeah.
and that group's that family's big day is also Thanksgiving. Like that's their big. It correlates to everything big.
You know what else I thought was really cute? The big holiday in Shrinking was Thanksgiving.
Yes. So it's funny that, and I think that relates. I think every family has a big holiday again until things change. I don't. So maybe Klingon. I don't.
It's fine.
Go look at the couch. Yeah. So I'm giving it 5 blue French horns.
I'm gonna also give it 5.
Big fan. I think that's our first 5er. I gotta think.
I believe so. I believe
that's
so.
our first 5er. It gave me all the feels and very much relating to things. I related to Ted in this episode. I related to Marshall in this episode. I related to Lily in this episode.
Hell, I related to everybody in this episode, including Robin, because
yes.
I've been that girl that tried to give the nerdy dude the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like,
benefit of the doubt. Clip it.
This isn't working. I don't want to be here.
I mean, I've been there too. Well, or under there, whatever. Click on. I think I've been Barney too. Where 5 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I'm bored as hell of this. Like, what are we doing here? Show me your titties. So yeah, I think it was a very good episode. Next week we will hit the Thanksgiving episode, which I am now also very excited about.
Everybody bring your turkeys.
Bring your turkeys, bring stuffing for all. And while you're doing that, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on everything. Tip to Tip Podcast. If you can't find us on anything, we're on tip to tip, 2 as in the number, pod.com.
Also, if you can't find us on anything, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this beautiful face. I'm gonna be right there. Linda's gorgeous face right there. We're there. We'll pick it up again next week. I think we're gonna have to start working to it. Maybe a Saturday pod.
I'm all right with that.
We'll have to figure that out. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
on that note, up top.
Up top.
Later.